Good evening, everyone. Hope my voice is audible.
Yes, sir.
So, would request everyone to be on mute, please. Uma, can you make Ian as co-host? Yeah, so I think I will take a host rights and I'll make Ian as co-host. Yeah.
Ian is the co-host, sir.
Yeah. Ian, good afternoon.
Hello, I'm here. Hi there.
Yeah. Wonderful. How are you,
everyone? All right. And I'm joined here by my wife, Sandy.
Oh, wow.
Sandy. So she's going to help me with some answering some of your questions. Hopefully they're not too difficult.
How do we call Ian, your wife, Sandeep, or how exactly?
Just call me Sandy.
Sandy's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandeep, for joining us on this day. We have all youngsters joining today. So it's more than 85 people who have joined, and we are expecting more people, and we have live streamed it in YouTube also. So there are people who are watching on YouTube also. There's a live video. So apart from this, people who have joined here.
No pressure.
So I think what I will do, Ian, is we have a program coordinator today. So I think Nitya would have joined today. Nitya, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what we will do is we will make you co-host so that you can take a lead of this activities. So do you have any slides, Nitya, for today? You wanted to share some slides?
Yes, I have some slides to share.
Please. Ian, what we will do is we will have some young students who will host this today's event. So they are a little bit afraid, but after seeing you, but probably they will be good in shape after some time.
Okay, good.
He's not scary.
Yeah, trust me, you'll love it. You'll love it.
So Nitya, don't be worried. You can start sharing and you can start the event. We'll start the event.
Thank you.
Nitya?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thanks for the motivation. Okay, shall we start?
Yes, please. It's your time.
Yes, sir. So yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Nitya. I'm a student at Clinosol from July batch. On behalf of the hosting organization, Clinosol Research Private Limited, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the students for today's industry expert interactive session, and also Mr. and Mrs. Sandeep and Ian Pinto, sir. I take a great honor in welcoming our guest speaker of the day and for accepting this invitation and joining us today to enlighten us with his knowledge. So before we proceed with the session, let me introduce you to the Clinosol Research Private Limited. I'm going to...
Are you sharing screen?
Yes.
Please.
Is it visible?
No.
No.
Not
Not yet.
visible. Just a moment, sir.
Yeah.
Just a moment.
Don't be worried. So it will be normal session.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I think, Ian, we are having annual conference coming month, I think coming January or February of ACDM annual conference in Europe.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that should be good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
at
big
some
event.
stage.
Yeah, it's a big event, and hopefully our students will utilize this event also. If you can enlighten
Yeah.
us with that event as well.
I'll get to that later. I'd really like to. We're looking at our strategy at the moment. We're looking to move towards India as well, so we can run a really nice global conference there. So, keep an eye on the ACDM.
Right.
Okay, we can see your slides. Thank you.
Thank you, Nitya.
Yes. Am I audible now, sir?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So yeah, before we proceed with the session, let me introduce you to the Clinosol Research Private Limited, our hosting organization. Clinosol was founded in the year 2019 in Hyderabad by its founder and CEO, Mr. C.S. Mujibuddin sir, as a private limited company at the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And moreover, Clinosol is an ISO certified and MSME and trademark registered organization that offers 3 major service wings: training, resource consulting, and corporate GXP training services. Since its inception, Clinosol has been growing year by year and has been recognized as the first institution to place maximum students in a year, with 220 students in 2022 and 343 students in 2021. And this year, 2023, already 90 students have been placed since January, and it is still counting. Consequently, in addition to regular training, Clinosol encourages students to write blogs, publish articles, presentations, and participate in competitions. Clinosol brings the industry and students community closer by sponsoring various conferences by national and international industry expert association, such as Indian Society for Clinical Research, Society of Clinical Data Management, Association of Clinical Data Management, and several other continuing educational programs, workshops on latest technologies. Clinosol also provides industry mentorship through partnerships with Inference and Texium Solutions. This allows our students to learn directly from industry experts and gain invaluable insights into clinical data management, clinical data analysis, and genomic sequencing programming. Combining practical training with industry mentorship is crucial to prepare students for successful careers in clinical research. Clinosol is proud to impact the community by providing knowledge, skills, and real-world experience to students. Without further ado, now I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Ayan Pinto, and I would like him to take the session further. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Right, I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me.
Yeah.
And okay. Right, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
And Ian, after your session, a couple of what do you say that we want to listen from Sandeep also, so that our students get motivated more, because we have 80% of women students, female students.
Of course, yeah. She'll be around to answer all the questions. All right. Okay.
And Ian, for
welcome
your,
everyone,
we have reached to 100 participants now.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome all. And thank you so much for this invite. It gives me, it gives me pleasure to do this kind of presentation to you guys. You're the future of drug development, as far as I'm concerned. So what I did is I spent some time, putting these slides together, and I specifically focused it towards you guys so you can get an idea of what it is to be a data manager and to work within the drug development process. What I'm going to cover is very little about the drug development process, really, but mainly start concentrating on what it means to be in data management, some examples on some of the roles. It's a very varied role or job. The examples of stakeholders that you'll be working with, qualifications and skills that you might require. I want to tell you about some of the success stories that I've had, maybe what Sandy's had, where it really does make a difference to a global, to patients globally. So why clinical data management, what responsibilities, etc., where to start, future opportunities. And I want to give you an idea about what we're doing with the ACDM, which is the global organization that I chair at the moment. So as you can imagine, I'm extremely passionate about this particular area. I've been in data management for a long time, and I really enjoy trying to encourage and mentor students as well to get into the industry this way. I've been working in data management, or I started in data management in the 90s, 1994, in fact. It is also where I met my wife, so there's opportunities there. I've worked for Parexel for 8 years. I worked for Roche for 17 years, doing lots of different roles. And I also just finished working at AstraZeneca for 3 years, not in data management, but with data management colleagues. So let me move on. So the drug development process goal, and by the way, what I'll do is I'll get through the slides and then we'll go into questions afterwards. So hopefully I'll be able to answer some of your questions as we go along anyway. So as you probably know, the drug development process goals are to develop cures such as infections, things for cancer, etc., to manage chronic disease, to save and extend life. And it's all achieved through commercial, research-based academia, foundations and charities. And clinical data management is a really key role, okay? In the industry, in the past, it hasn't really had the focus, the importance that it should have had, but nowadays data is key. And now clinical data management is at the forefront. It's an extremely important part of the clinical development process. Without your data, without clean quality data, you will not get medicines on the market, okay? So this is a diagram about on the drug development process. And as you can see, the process takes 10 to 15 years. It used to take, up to 15 years. Nowadays, I think, with technology changing and with you guys as the new era of people that will be working in this industry, hopefully that will come down, below 10 years. But what you're looking at is preclinical development, followed by a long period of clinical development. And you can see that in preclinical, you're looking at in vivo testing, where you're looking into animal models. You're looking at in vitro testing, working with assays and cell cultures within labs. And there's a lot of in drug discovery, there's a lot of computer modeling, etc., that goes on. And it's those small laboratories, universities, academia, research places, biotechs that find these molecules that will be the next great medicine. And as you know, out of hundreds, very few make it to the clinical development stage. All right, it's a huge risk to take something forward if it's not going to work, because that's where we spend millions and millions to get a drug on the market. So next time you're thinking about the medications that you're taking, and maybe looking at the price of them and things like that, it's because a huge amount of work that has gone into them over the years to make them the quality they are, and get them on the market for us to take in a safe and effective manner. So you've got different phases of the clinical clinical development, and clinical data management over there on the left-hand side in red is primarily concentrated in phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the different phases represent different stages of the drug development process. You've got phase 1, where we start looking at small safety and efficacy studies. You start looking at phase 2, where you have these medium safety and efficacy dose finding studies. This is where you start getting students and others to come in and help, test the drugs, make sure that the drugs are going through the body, properly, that they're safe. And then you start going into phase 3, where you have large confirmation of safety efficacy studies, where we know the drug is safe, but we now need to test it on patients, and we now need to make sure that excuse me, and now we need to make sure that the drug is safe to use, and we can get it published and out on the market in different countries. Okay, And you can see there, phase 4, we do some post-marketing. This is once the drug is released, we need to make sure that that it's still safe. We have safety surveillance studies on an ongoing basis. And we also make sure that, if there's other drugs coming on the market, I want to make sure that my drug is still at the forefront, and people are still purchasing my drug. So at the end of the day, it's still a business. We still want to make sure that we're selling the drugs. On the right-hand side, you can see you've got the regulatory approvals, etc. Some of you guys might be interested in going into regulatory. So I'm going to concentrate on data management. And here are some of the examples of data management roles. Now, I know that there are lots of questions, and I know some of the questions might be around technology or management or things like that. But as you can see from this list, data management, and the two of us have been in this for a long time. There are a huge number of areas you can get involved in, depending on what your interest is. So you could be a clinical data manager. You could be leading the data management activities on a particular study. You could be at the bottom there, a program data manager, which is what I used to be, which is what Sandy is now, where she works. And you'll be looking after lots of different studies, maybe even working on different drugs. And by working on different drugs, you're taking in all this different knowledge, learning about different therapeutic areas, etc. But the core is the same. So we're working with different systems. You might be a clinical dictionary coder. For those of you that don't know, what this means is that when we collect all this data from patients, we have to code that data. So, if I've got a brain tumor or a headache or something like that, we have to code those so that when we produce listings and reports in the stats analysis, it all comes out neatly in specific tables, etc. So we need to code this information. We have lab data managers in some companies. Their responsibilities are to look at lab data and ensure that all the lab data that's been collected is standard and can be analyzed properly at the end. We have people working in clinical data standards who are responsible for ensuring that we are maintaining clinical standards, that we are using the same data collection tools all the time, that we don't have someone to the right doing something by themselves and causing issues later on. So those clinical data standards are really key for a lot of companies. You might be interested in programming. You could get into the clinical industry, into the pharma industry as a data management programmer. So you'll be programming in whatever language that company is using. You could be building databases, writing validation checks, programming. You might be even using different tools for producing reports and developing metrics. You might also be a process owner. So that's something that I did recently when I was at AstraZeneca. I was a data management process owner and subject matter expert. So, you could be then moving into data management training or line managing, or even become a department head for in a pharmaceutical company. There's a huge number of roles, and this is just a few examples. Each company will be slightly different. The stakeholders that you work with. Now, we work within study teams. So when we run a clinical development for a particular drug, there'll be a number of studies that will be running throughout those years that we talked about. Each one of those studies has a study team leader. Each one of them will have all of these different roles. Everyone will have a part to play, and to get that particular study and to get results that will lead us to the next phase, to the next study, to ensure that we're covering everything we need for the development of that drug. So we might be looking at, help me out, we might be looking at pediatric studies, we might be looking at certain age groups, we might be looking at drug interactions. We want to make sure that when the drug is given to you and you're taking something else, it's not going to react and it's not going to work. We want to make sure that we are making, we're making a product that is safe and regulatory and scrutinized by regulations so that it works for everyone globally. Now, I'm going to move on to the qualifications and skills that you might need. So let me just reduce this. Okay. So we got in with a degree. We generally take people with life science degrees, computing, stats. You might have experience in previous healthcare providers. So we have lots of nurses, doctors, pharmacists who decide, right, I want to move into clinical research. You need to have excellent analytical problem-solving skills. You need to be an effective and professional communication, or have communication skills, unlike me. You need to be computer literate and have a great ability to learn, highly organized. You need to have great attention to detail, ability to work independently, etc. And the last one is work to pressurized deadlines. At the end of the day, we're looking at producing a drug, getting a drug out on the market before competitors as quickly as possible. So the timelines do tend to be, they move quite quickly. We need to get things done so that, we can get this drug on the market according to our plans. Now, I've just, someone else put this together, but there were just 3 here of the types of successes that we've had. Obviously, we've all been taking medicines in the past and they're all successful. So you can see here, there's a COVID vaccine, that came out when I was at AstraZeneca. And I can tell you the amount of work that went in to make sure that that vaccine was safe was terrific, really. You've got their cancer breakthroughs. I myself, I've worked on cancer, life-saving drugs. I've worked on drugs to keep drugs for transplants. So patients that needed a lung transplant, heart transplant, etc. These are drugs to help ensure that those transplants remain in your body. They don't get rejected by your own body. You've got drugs there for Alzheimer's. Sandy, you've worked on drugs for.
So I lead the HIV team where I work, and one of my most memorable moments in my career is the successful regulatory submission of a HIV treatment, which was a game changer in HIV, where most drugs is you take them a cocktail of drugs every day, a tablet, which is a daily reminder of your diagnosis. And we've now developed the first treatment where we have once monthly or once every 2-month injections instead, which makes life a complete and utter change to people's lives and quality of lives. And that's, as well as treatment, we're now looking at, we've also now got approvals for PrEP as well, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis for HIV too. So very successful.
Right. So, and as you can tell, from what Sandy was saying, you're not looking at just a tablet. It might be a capsule. It might be a liquid. It might be something you inject. It might be all sorts of different things. All these different medicines that you're taking or that your family might be taking have all gone through this process. It's a great line of business to be in, knowing that you can help people. So why clinical data management? Well, these are some of the things people have said in the past. I'm very passionate about advancing the healthcare industry. Since moving to data management, I've been able to utilize my scientific and computer knowledge. That's one of the reasons why I got into it. After working in clinical data management for a few years, I began a training role. Clinical data management allowed me to progress into more project management, working to produce medicines to help save patients. That's basically what you're doing. And being able to develop medicines in computing environments was really appealing. So what responsibilities does a clinical data manager have? Well, you're responsible for the input and review of protocols which define what data is needed to be collected and at what time points for a particular trial. So if any of your family have been on any clinical trials, they will have been given some information about how these studies are being run. They will be told at what point we're going to collect data. They might need to go to a clinic. They might be taking blood samples, etc. It is our responsibility to set up all of the data collection tools in-house. We design them, we build them, we test them. They're electronic data capture now. We use all sorts of e-digital health devices, including Apple Watches. It might be digital thermometers, you name it. Anything that's out there that is of digital nature, we might be using in some of our studies, depending on the therapeutic area and what's necessary. We're responsible for maintaining standards, like I said before, and adhering to the processes that are put in place. We need to develop and maintain essential documentation for regulatory purposes. We'll be validating and reviewing data to ensure that it's complete, that the quality of the data is superb, and it is there is integrity in it. What we don't want is poor quality data going for an analysis and then being turned down when it comes to trying to get the drug on the market. We want to make sure that the quality of that data is good enough to get a submission at the end. Adherence to project plans, developing reports and metrics, and ensuring a timely, ongoing data flow. And when I talk about data flow, I mean data coming in from the clinics, from the sites, from the patients, whether it's on diaries, etc., going through this process and being reported at the end, and then reporting progress at team meetings and highlighting any potential risks. So this is just a few of the things that we have to do. Obviously, there'll be a lot more, but where can you start as students? Where what can you benefit from? How do you get involved? Well, there are entry-level data management positions offered by clinical research organizations, sometimes called CROs. They're outsourced companies that provide services directly to pharmaceutical and biotech companies. If you're going to start looking for them, you might see them under titles such as clinical data management specialist or associate or coordinator. These days, you might also see clinical data scientist. There'll be positions available in clinical research institutes, academic outfits, and there might also be possibilities to work at a hospital site or research facility as a clinical trial assistant or coordinator, still doing data management, but actually working in one of the sites. There are opportunities globally to participate in summer internships. University gap years are available and may be offered by larger companies' data management departments within the pharmaceutical and biotech areas and CROs. There may also be opportunities to transition into data management from other healthcare settings as well. Now, where can this role take me? Well, it's the two of us have been doing this for many years, and I've moved from data management into business process, that fourth bullet down there. So I'm actually a quality and business process manager. But you know what? You could move into lots of different areas in clinical research once you start getting into it, and you realise, where you're best suited. Your career is really driven by you, where you want to go. So, as you all know, I'm currently the chair of a global organisation that I've been doing this for. I've been part of the association for many, many years. I've been chair for the last 5 or 6. This is the website. It's at acdmglobal.org. I know some of you are members, but some of you may not be just yet. So I wanted to outline some of the benefits of what it means to be part of this association and what my intentions are moving forward to help students in the future. So as you can see, this association represents enthusiastic clinical research professionals with a passion to improve drug development. And we've been serving a data management community for over 30 years. I think it's 36 years if you're following us on LinkedIn. We just celebrated 36 years. So now, what are the benefits of being a member? Well, as a student, what I'd like to do is do more for students. We've put a strategy in place that will try to help students find more of these opportunities, to highlight some of the companies that you might be working for in the future. We have regular symposia, and these are small one-day events on particular topics. The next one being in Copenhagen in September. That one's going to be on artificial intelligence and machine learning within the work that we do. And I know some of the questions are about that. There's a lot of companies out there moving towards using AI and ML. We have a global conference. We call it ACDM 24. That's going to be in Copenhagen on the 3rd and 5th of March, 3rd to the 5th of March next year. This year we had about 350 people. I think we're probably aiming between 400 and 500 for that particular conference. Everyone's welcome. Go to the website and see if it's something of interest. But usually at these conferences, we have a huge number of different companies there. You can go and speak to them. You can find out if there's opportunities. We have a lot of different people presenting some really good case studies on the work that they've been doing. And it's great to see and learn about what's going on in the industry to advance it and to get drugs on the market much quicker. We also have hot topics. We run these webinars very similar to this, but we have specific topics that we want to talk about, and we have maybe 100 people on there discussing particular topics of interest. And of course, we have online training. We have a series of online trainings that people can take whenever they want, and they will kind of educate you on data management, mainly when you've started your career. Now, one of the other things I'm trying to do, and we're still working on this at the moment, is I want to develop a student portal. This is, like I said, this is really important to me. I want to make sure there's things like videos looking at the drug development process and clinical data management. I want there to be a list of companies to apply to, so that it makes it easier for you guys to find which companies, where do I go, who do I apply to. I also want a list, and we are going to approach companies for this. I want them to list their opportunities for work experience and apprenticeships and placements on the website. We're going to give people access to the hot topic webinars that we've run, so you can just click and listen to them in your own time, and plenty of opportunities to join in all the networking events that we undertake, including those symposia, conferences, and online training. So with that, I think I'm done. And I think it's time for questions. So.
Yeah, Ian, I think with that, we will open for questions. But before that, there is one more presentation, Ian. So if you allow us 10 minutes of time.
Of course, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm sharing my screen, and there is one small presentation for Clinosol, so that we can, So after this, I'll not take much time. It hardly takes 5-6 minutes of time. So about Clinosol and about our collaboration of ACDM and how it is working going forward for the students. It's about Clinosol research. So, and I think most of you guys know about what is Clinosol. It's established in 2019, and it's me and Uma Priya who have started with over 15 years of experience in clinical research and 4 years in entrepreneurship, which is ISO 9001 2015. And this is our team who are working day and night for the Clinosol with my directors and my team. And these are our services. We give clinical research trainings and corporate upskillings like GXPs and GCPs and GMPs and GLPs. And we also give resource consulting. We also give to the companies our resources. So these are our courses, trainings, which are being given to our students, including clinical research, CDM, pharmacovigilance, medical writing, regulatory affairs, database programming, project management, trial master file, SAS, and data science. And also we are giving the durations and eligibility also. And this is our curriculum, which is being updated every 3 months once, and we take suggestions from ACDM also to update the syllabus, our course curriculum, what has to be added and what is the future required. And our training evaluation methods is based on assignments, assessments, blogs, articles, and presentations, and also technical classes and sessions like this. And our resource consulting, we give freshers with zero cost to the companies for internship and contract-based and full-time employees and experience based on agreement. And we also support almost every company. So these are the advantage for our consulting. Coming back to our timelines, we started in 2019 with 75 placement in 2019. And in 2020, we have trained 170 students and 125 students got placed. We got a couple of awards also. And 2021, we took 400 admissions and 390 were placements. And we got 3 awards in 2021. And 2022, we took 220 admissions and 180 placements were being there and 57 different companies. And we collaborated with ACDM in 2022 for student membership. So I'll be discussing about that point, which is more important needed. And we started our office in Canada, which is Clinosol Research INC in Canada. And we started our office in Bangalore, and we got a couple of awards from Indian Medical Associations and also Indian Pharmaceutical Associations. We collaborated with Clinion and PBH. And Clinion is one of the sponsor for the ACDM event, which is happening in Copenhagen. So they are our official partners, and they give their databases for our student training. So we believe on hands-on training, and they're giving a lot of trainings to our students. So coming back to 2023, so this is the current aspects we have, and out of 152 admissions, we have crossed 125 placements from January to till now. 47 articles were being published, including clinical research, CDM, pharmacovigilance, and medical writing, so on. 112 blogs were being published, 123 presentations were being given, 47 industry expert sessions were being done, 14 alumni interactions and 14 events, and 12 collaboration, including 10 academia and 5 industries and 10 sponsored events. And these are our collaborations, starting from academic institutions. We get collaborated with universities and colleges. We have almost all universities and colleges collaboration in India. And also we are trying for other organizations or other countries also. And we have industry collaborations, and we have mentorship collaborations, analytical labs, immigrations and resource consultant and industry associations like ACDM. And databases, we are having collaboration with nearly 6 companies, including Clinion, Cliniops and PVH and RANet and Enfriends. So these are our achievements in a nutshell. Admissions from 2019 to till now, 1,000, and placements were 800, and blogs were 400, and collaborations were 80, and presentations were 520, and articles were 140, and industry conferences were 120, and industry hands-on were 6, and internships were 120 and 150, and corporate upskilling is 20. And what is this all collaboration means for students? I'm very fortunate that Ian has supported us so much from the date when we have contacted, and we started discussing about this discussion from since 1 year long. We were planning for this event, and Ian always have open mind and always have given supporting hand to the students. And Ian is coming up with a wonderful portal, student portal, where students can learn many things. Already ACDM is working for providing opportunities for the members of ACDM, and one of the best conferences are being dealt in ACDM also. Ian is working on bringing up a nice portal for the students where they can go and prepare themselves. Some will be free of cost, and some might be very less charge or less paid. And what is this collaboration between ACDM and students of Clinosol means is we get 150 student membership every year. And we get our student access to training courses and resources at a discounted price, including online courses. And annual conferences is being held at different locations. And we get access for attending annual conferences and regular newsletters and free access for hot topic discussions. So I don't know if students of Clinosol who have joined today have got membership already or not, but definitely this is a place where you can get access for ACDM website and recognition as member globally in recognized associations. And this is about our contact us. We have an office in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Visakhapatnam and Canada. And with this, I would like to show our students and people who have joined here that this is official ACDM login. And in the membership details, there is member company listings, wherein the bigger companies are there. You can name a company, and you have a company. And officially, Clinosol is a partner or member for ACDM. We are officially collaborated with ACDM, where our students are getting access, and they can go into the system and they can learn many other things in ACDM system. So I think with this short note, Ian, I'm really sorry if I have taken more time, but with this,
fine.
Yeah, with this short note, because I wanted to try it as much as crispy I can be. So I made very short slides, but I'm very thankful to you, Ian. I remember the
No
day.
problem, honestly.
Yeah, I remember the day when you had the first meeting with me. There were a lot of questions, and there was so many of brainstorming happening, and we planned this event. Very fortunate to have you both for this event, because this is first kind of event which has been performed in this way. So a couple of people are giving some knowledge and your experience sharing with young people. So they are more afraid, worried, and I don't know whether they will be able to ask questions or not. They have prepared.
Let's see.
They have prepared their questions.
Well, let's see. So if anyone wants to ask questions, please do. I've just posted something on the chat as well. So if you're a little bit shy and you prefer to type your question out, just do that. I'm keeping an eye on that too. So
hopefully I'm expecting my students to ask questions on unmuting, so that they will remove that fear and they can go for.
Yeah, let's do it. Exactly. Who's going to be first? Who's going to be brave?
Yeah, open for questions. Ian and Sandeep, both people are there. You can ask questions and you can get the answers. So who is going to first ask the question? Nitya? Yeah. David, you want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, sir, ma'am.
Hello.
The session was very informative and interesting. Thank you for enlightening us. I have a question. My name is David. I'm a PharmD graduate and also a student of Clinosol. So my question is, what can we as a student gain from ACDM to explore ourselves to the future of data management?
Okay, Ian, the question is, what is the advantage of the ACDM, and what are the core points our students can get the benefit? So this question is being asked by David.
So I think are you talking about as a member of the ACDM, you mean? Yeah, David?
Because he's a Clinosol student, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the membership, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to expand it so that I provide more information for students. I think we always used to concentrate on people within the industry. Now I'm taking a slightly different tact, and the strategy that I've put in place now is to change it to encourage more students to get involved. Hence why I'm developing this portal. I want you guys, when you're looking for positions, if you want to look for positions abroad, it can be very daunting. It can be very difficult. So the idea of the portal is to highlight where those opportunities are, so that they don't just go to anyone local. They can be put out there to a global audience. And it might be that it can be sponsored. It might be a gap year, university gap year. So the idea of the portal is really to provide all that information. Like I said, a list of companies on the website is a great start, because it means then you can, where to go, which companies to go to apply for any positions. But if I can encourage those companies to not only help us and sponsor the site, and also post any availabilities, any opportunities they have, I think it will be really beneficial for you guys. And on top of that, obviously, we have all of these hot topic webinars. We have a whole list we've been running them for years. We've got a lot of them recorded. So when you start, your journey, or you think there's a particular interest that you have, go and have a look at the hot topics on the website and just listen to them. You listen to them in your spare time. they're really beneficial. And then of course we've got all of these networking opportunities. Obviously, if you're not working yet, then have to finance them yourself or through Clinosol, but they are extremely beneficial to meet people, to network with people, to see what the industry is doing, and find out more about how different companies are advancing clinical development.
Yeah, so to cut short, more things are upcoming. Either it is training or job opportunities or learning or recorded videos, hot topics, everything will be there for students, youngsters in ACDM. So that's what Ian has said.
As a member, if you're a member of the ACDM, you have access to all of those hot topics. You can go back and listen to all of those. And just, I know Mujib mentioned it earlier, but when you become a member of the ACDM, or in order to become a member, all you need to do is click on a particular link that is assigned to Clinosol, and you become a member. You don't have to pay for it. Clinosol has already become a company member. So the more people that we have on this, on the books, it really is better. It's better for us because it means then I can also move my strategy towards India and do more things that you guys might be able to attend in the future.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much.
I haven't seen any other questions online yet.
More questions are there, Ian. So
carry on. Anyone else?
We are not going to leave you today for a lot of questions. Though it is the Friday night, our students have prepared so much of list of questions. So I hope you don't mind to answer the question.
Fine, go ahead. Go ahead. What's the next one?
Thank you for asking. Next question, please. Next question, please. Anyone else? Nitya, can you ask your students to ask questions quickly, please?
Yes, sir. I have asked them. They are getting ready with the questions. Yes.
Yeah, please.
It's all right. No worries. There's no rush.
Go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. This is Dr. Farin here from Hyderabad. Yes, so my question to you is the transformation of data manager to data science. How near is this in future? Sir, what is your advice for we students to be prepared for this in future?
Yeah, Ian, she is a medical doctor. She's a medical doctor by profession. So she wants to ask this question. Anyone,
this is
Ian or Sandeep.
Do you want to talk to this one? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of conversations about moving from data management to data scientist, and I think it's an interesting topic. And I think the thought there is with regards to so at the moment, data management, what you think about is your input into the protocol, your design of the database, your design of your data management and cleaning plans, etc. And stepping away from that and having more of an oversight of the data management and seeing the data from a scientific perspective. I'm in two minds about this at the moment. I think there's still going to be a very much heavy data management side of things, as well as becoming a clinical data scientist, because the elements of the role, you need to understand the basics of data management in order to become a good clinical data scientist. So I think there's going to be more of a hybrid. You can't be a clinical data scientist without being a clinical data manager, is my opinion. I don't know if other people have any other opinions there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bone of contention. It's a bit of a debate around what is a clinical data scientist. There are some areas of the industry who seem to be moving towards data science. But for me, I've been doing data management for many, many years, and you're managing clinical data. It doesn't matter where that data is, which tools you're using. At the end of the day, clinical data science is part of the management of clinical data. So I would expect data managers, they may, at certain companies, they may be changing the term, the name of the role, but essentially you are managing clinical data. So you're a data manager. I think it's a bit of, I find it a little bit difficult to see the difference. I think actually a data scientist is part of data management. Does that answer your question, Doctor?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we have one more question, Jan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chat, we have got this question. She's Ravina, and she has recently, I think 2 days back, she got an offer and she's joining in one of the MNC from Monday as regulatory affairs. She's
cool.
from India. She has asked a question: what would be the landscape of data management in another 20 years or 2 decades? Will data management function will have more jobs, or job losses will be there?
Oh, you know what? I mean, 20 years ago, they were saying the same thing, right? And, you know, a lot of these things, it's very difficult. There's a lot of technological change. There's a lot of people delving into AI and ML, like I said, and machine learning. At the end of the day, we need data from patients. Now, we can get it directly from patients now, whereas before we'd have to go to sites. Now I can get that data from your wrist, from your any monitors that you have on your body. It's the same with other industries, you know, who are monitoring animals, for example, in a field. You know, we can get all this stuff remotely. They talk to devices. We get that data automatically, but there isn't someone who can replace a data manager from actually dealing with that data and making sure that that data is of quality. What we do is facilitate ensuring that that data is a quality product. So, you know, I think for a good few years, there is still going to be the need for data managers. It's just that the technology to get that data is changing rapidly. So it might mean that we get the data quicker and more efficiently.
I think it's just an evolution of roles. So when I started 20 years ago, it was very different. I was working with paper studies. Now you have to have that mental agility, that flexibility to change in your role. So now my role is a lot more project management and understanding. So I think if you can move with the technology, you will have a role. I don't know whether it'll be more jobs or less jobs, but I think there will always be a role to play. You just need to be flexible in your mindset and make sure that you adapt with the changes and the technologies that are coming our way.
Yeah, I think
you guys are young. You don't even need to worry about the old technologies. So you know, you just need to look forward to all of these new technological advances and how to utilize them in this industry. You know, we need you guys to go to these companies and question why you're doing things in these ways. I bet you a lot of you will start at farmers, biotechs, a lot of these different companies, and just go, what? Why are you still using Excel? Why are you still, you know, tapping in data, collecting data like this when, you know, I've got a watch that gives me all the data I need and the reports that I need at the touch of a button. It's honestly, what you'll find is that when you go to these companies, you'll have a huge voice of things to say, and you need to, you know, move the industry forward, help to move them forward. Because there's a lot of people at these places who are fixed in the way that they're doing things. And, you know, it takes people like you, brave people like you, to come in and really try and encourage them to move with the times.
Yeah, I think we are the generation who have seen so much of technology updations and change in our lifestyle, and so much of things got changed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We were not sure about we can talk on mobiles also. So the day where we used to write letters, postcards and all those letters, and from that day using landlines to mobile phones, and now we are using satellites. Everything we are using, what not we are using.
It's of course, yeah.
Youngsters have a lot of advantage. So thank you, Ian. More questions.
We were young ones.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Pinto. This is Fatma.
Hello.
As you've already worked and still working in some of the amazing pharma and CRO organizations, my question to you is, what would be your advice for young students like me in taking our first step in our career?
Okay, so advice to a young student. So we at our company, I work for GSK, we do have an industrial placement student, albeit it's in the UK. But so I've managed lots of IP students, industrial placement students coming in. And I think it's just not being afraid to speak up. If you see different ways of working, then please do mention them. So as Ian mentioned earlier, maybe we haven't seen the new technology, we haven't seen something, so we would really advise you to like speak up with your ideas. I love it when students come and say to me, hey, I've got this idea, can we implement this? I would encourage that. So that would be my main advice, is to speak up. You know, if you've got any great ideas, share them. People will be more than willing to listen to you and try to see if there's any way that they can help you. The other thing I do is, if you do get a foothold into whatever company, is to network, talk to people, talk to different function areas. Just make sure you increase your networks so you get to experience different areas if that ever comes your way. But I think those are the two things I always tell my students to do.
Yeah, and just stepping back a little bit, when you are trying to find a job, don't always just go for the highest paid job. You need to go and work for a company that has potential. You need to look at what their portfolio is like, where they're heading, what their strategy is like. You need to choose very carefully where you go, and you can do extremely well by taking that way forward. If you just go for the highest paid job you can get, you will be expected to perform at a very high level, and you don't have the experience to do that just yet. So don't try and run before you can walk. Make sure you start at the right level where you can really perform well and climb the ladder nice and slowly, rather than trying to do it too fast. Because we've seen a lot of people who they get to senior positions and they just don't have industry experience. This industry is huge, right? It is huge. When you move from a CRO into a pharma, for example, it's a completely different world, completely different. You're moving from essentially a service provider to someone who has actually got this global accountability for producing medicines. And it's a very different scene, a very different picture. So take your time, find the right job, find something that interests you, and take your time to learn the craft before you start moving too fast. It's not all about money. You want to find the right job that interests you, where you can really make a difference. All right.
So I think thank you so much for putting that answer in a right way. That don't run behind money, run behind the skills and development of knowledge. Because whenever we say student does not listen, but if you say students will listen now.
I hope so. I hope so.
No, because you have a lot of experience and you have seen, and your experience speaks, Ian. Your experience speaks. So,
honestly, it really does. You have to, don't just, it's not a tick box exercise. You don't want to just go from company to company, ticking the box saying, yep, I've done that, done that, done that. I spent 17 years at Roche, right? A big pharmaceutical company. I gathered a huge amount of experience. And you can't just become a process manager or a trainer or a head of department if you don't have a vast amount of knowledge. You need a huge amount of knowledge, and you're only going to get that by staying within a company for a few years and really building up your education, your knowledge. You'll be working in different therapeutic areas. So, I was working in oncology, developing cancer drugs. At the same time, I was also working on drugs for hematology, what else? Transplants, you name it. I've done so many different areas. I can't even remember them. But there's a huge amount of knowledge to be gained, and working with lots of different companies is another advantage. All these different studies will have different assets, different areas where you can really learn from. Okay.
Yeah, Ian, I have one more question, Ian. This question is being asked by Vaishalini. She is a family doctor of pharmacy, and she is asking, what are the strategies and technologies do you believe will be profound impact on the growth of CDM? So she wants to ask a simple question: strategies and technologies, what I have to learn to grow or to see the peaks of a CDM? That's what she is asking, I think.
Again, that's a difficult one because you're right.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Did you want to say something? Or?
I can do. I mean, just thinking of where we're at the current point in time of CDM, I think the buzzword is definitely AI ML at the moment when we're thinking about technologies, and that will have a profound effect on CDM, but if it's done in the right way, so if you manage the change management of that appropriately. So thinking about what we can use, the applications you can use it in, you can use it in data anomaly detection, you can use it for medical coding, for example, or medical writing. So there are different areas within the clinical development area where you can really apply it. So technology, yes, at this moment it's AI ML, but like I said, all throughout you're going to get different technologies that are going to change things for you. So I think you have to roll with it. You have to really adapt yourself to it as well. Did you want to add something? Because I can see we're at time, sorry.
Yeah, I think, you keep an eye on the ACDM. That's one of the benefits of being part of the ACDM. You will see different companies investing in trying to develop drugs much faster. In order to do that, they need to make use of technologies, new advancements, new strategies, etc. And being part of the association and coming to these different conferences, that's where I learn my information. I get this, I get to know what's going on at some of these big pharma companies, and it's great to see that they're trying to, decrease the time it takes to get medicines to market.
Right. Ian, we have one interesting question. This question has been asked by Madiha Nas, and she's asking, these students like to attend upcoming annual conference in March 2024 in Copenhagen. But we would be thankful if ACDM and Clinosol, I'm putting and Clinosol because definitely Clinosol will be interested. ACDM and Clinosol support in sponsoring us to attend this annual conference in Copenhagen from India. So this is a question. I don't know how you are going to take it on.
I don't know how I'm going to do this. Okay, let me just start by saying that the ACDM is a non-profit organization, right? So we are not flushed with lots of money. Everyone that works for the ACDM is a volunteer. No one gets paid. So, we put these events on, we make a little bit of money, then we can invest it in training and put in more events on. So we're not, the Jeff Bezos of this world. So, what I'll do is I'll take it back and see what we can do for students for Copenhagen. But, it's very difficult because obviously we have a certain amount of money that we have to